pickups are almost as tough as a Tonka toy. They're practically unbreakable. Well, I did say practically, and that's all part of the attraction. The drivers too are not afraid to get stuck in and mix it. And for this second season, some familiar trucks have returned and will scrap it out for the title over 24 races. With 2 races making up each round, it's a 12-round contest with no knockouts and no submissions. Mike Jordan was back and confident of putting in a strong challenge to last year's 1997 Series champion Jeff Simpson, with Graham White and the ever-cheerful Dave Longhurst also very realistic contenders. Andy Donut Stewart is another to return, as is the enthusiastic Ali Lane. Both will surely menace for the title. And add to that a rich mix of newcomers, including David Tin from Holbeach, and upholding ladies' honours Gillian Philp, and then Michael Smith. It's all bound to add up to a fearsome contest. And it all got underway at Mallory Park in Leicestershire. It's the second year for the amazing pickups, and they really are amazing in every sense of the word. We've got 6 new drivers to the series this year. They all start from the rear of the grid. That's to make sure that they don't have a baptism of fire. But I'll tell you what, we are in for some fireworks. There's the front row, the pace car bringing them round. Stuart Bradburn at the wheel as ever, and with Des Stainer on pole position in number 31, and the only lady racer in the series out there in number 29, Gillian Philp in the Hewlett-Packard colours, and she gets them on the way, and Des Stainer gets the power down and they hair off. Remember, going the opposite way around Mallory Park, what is the traditional way around the Mallory Mile. And it's Des Stainer who gets the break on them. Look though, we're behind because Dave Briggs in number 2 making good progress as well. We've got the V8 champion Mike Jordan out there as well. He's in the number 77 Speedfit truck. And there's somebody really swimming wide there. That's Alan Fisher's got it all out of shape. And who's that behind him to collect? Oh, there's contact there. That's Mike Jordan. Tremendous disappointment that will be for Jordan on the opening lap of this series. Jordan is in the wars, and that looks to be the end of his race, at least for the time being. And Andy Donut Stewart there in number 19. He's made a fantastic start already, would you believe it? He started way back on the 7th row of the grid, and he's up to 3rd in 1 lap. That's some serious overtaking. Often the bridesmaid and seldom the bride. He's never won a race. There'll be yellow flags there, so they'll all hopefully keep their position. Donut Stewart sweeps through and takes the lead. Does he? No, he doesn't, in fact. Sustainer fights back. And here is Jeff Simpson making good progress. Jeff was the winningest driver in the series last year, notching up a double figure of victories as they come into turn 3. Des Stainer leads it. Andy Donut Stewart there in the number 19 truck. And can Donut get through? Ali Lane in 28. There's Dave Briggs fighting off the challenge of number 3, Jeff Simpson, as they go underneath the bridge. But here's the very front of that particular group, led still by Andy Donut Stewart. This is going to be a 7-car train the way it's going up, or a 7-truck chain we should say. And the 2 side by side, these 2 men, the battles they had in 1998. Has Donut let it go? Oh, it'll be tremendous disappointment to him if he doesn't win this race. One of the most cheerful characters in pickup truck racing, and he's lost out to that man Simpson's done it again. There's a problem for Michael Smith. Here's the leaders, Jeff Simpson and Andy Donut Stewart. See, oh, and there's a problem for Ali Lane. Well held, my son. Down onto the backstretch they come again. Simpson still harried and harassed by Andy Stewart behind him. Andy Stewart has had tremendous concentration to keep so close to Simpson right the way through that traffic, and there is the checkered flag. Oh, it's not to be for Andy Stewart, but it is to be, very much so, for Jeff Simpson, who takes the first pickup truck victory of 1998. There's Gillian Philp going through, and she will finish down in 9th place overall, but the race order confirmed. Jeff Simpson then taking that victory. Andy Donut Stewart in 2nd place, and down in 3rd, a creditable performance from Tony Proctor. Well, thousands have flocked to Kent to witness the thrilling spectacle of these incredible 2-litre engine purpose-built racers, the pickup trucks. And as always, the quick men start at the rear. We wait for the red lights to go green, and away we go. Bruce Evans and Michael Smith on the front row. Those who were slightly slower in qualifying, there is the only lady racer in the race, Gillian Philp from Scotland, and they surge their way down into the dip at the exit of Paddock Hill Bend, and up the hill they come towards Druids. There's David Tin in the 5 truck, and really muscling his way through there was John Engledow in the black number 50, and he picks up a few places as he goes down, and they squabble about for position up through Surtees on bottom straight. Alan Fisher there well placed in second, but they're back in the 5th position, the red and green truck of number 24, Ben Padfield. Great sight they make here at the Garden of England circuit. And Bruce Evans, the leader, gets it outside, and he's going to have a passenger from here on in. Let's just hope he doesn't spin across the track, and they miss him left and right. And I think Alan Pendry was clipped in the middle of that, in that red truck. Everybody else seeming to get through without too many dramas. And let's just see what, well, yes, the yellow and black quartered flags signifying that the pace laps are on, while the marshals remove that errant yellow banana-shaped truck. And it really is. After that, we go back racing, though, with double greens. And Alan Fisher, John Engledow and Mike Jordan in the 77 truck has moved up into 3rd place. Ben Padfield still there, 4th behind him. Steve Dudman, and side by side, Alistair Lane, starting from the penultimate row of the grid, and he's come storming through in that silver number 28. Up the hill and through Druids, this tight right-hander, a hairpin, they go right the way around, and there's one of the youngest in the field in 38, Lee Caroline. Well, still Alan Fisher leads Mike Jordan, and back for 4th place, Lane and Simpson. And Simpson, of course, the series winner in 1997, trying to claim his crown again. And these leading 5 going at it as if there's only 1 pint on the bar, and the first one there gets to quench his thirst. And with Fisher dropping back sadly through the field, they're now bashing it. Well, the paint strippers are out, aren't they? Side by side through Paddock, and Alistair Lane runs a little bit wide. Jordan with the inside again, though. He knows this circuit so well, the Brands Hatch Indy circuit, and putting all of that huge experience to great use here in this pickup truck race. Behind, monumental combat for 7th, Lee Caroline in 38, Gillian Philp and Dave Longhurst, Tony Proctor there too. The leaders make their way back down Paddock Hill Bend and into that dip. The cars go very heavy then, and light again as they rise up. And Alistair Lane got a good slingshot out of there. Jeff Simpson now moves to the inside of him. Simpson might go through. And he does. Well, a classic piece of overtaking up at Druids. And Tony Proctor now trying to latch onto that battle for 7th place we saw just a moment ago. Simpson through on the final lap. Jeff Simpson moves around the outside of Mike Jordan. Now, can Jordan fight back? It's a dash to the checkered flag of the remaining mile of the Indy circuit. Simpson holds the line. Look at Alistair Lane really there, poised. Not a problem for Lee Caroline, the youngest guy in the race. Well, it's only his 3rd pickup truck race ever, and Lee Caroline acquitting himself very well. Sadly, though, a problem there. He's going to drop him down the order. Well, in fact, looking at that, he might just hold on to that 5th place. But up ahead, they are absolutely flying. There is Simpson, the leader. And if Mike Jordan gets any closer, he'll be able to see if there's a ball patch on the back of Jeff Simpson's head. He couldn't get closer if it were possible. A dash to the line. Will Simpson take the low line? He will. He'll also take the checkered flag with Jordan 2nd and Lane there in 3rd. And while Jeff celebrates, they're still squabbling about for this final 5th place. And Gillian Phil gets the back end sideways. Hold on there, Gillian, and she will do. And so too did Jeff Simpson to take his 3rd victory in a row. Mike Jordan with a fine 2nd, Ali Lane in a fighting 3rd, with Graham White, John Engledow and Alan Fisher rounding out the top 6. The 4th race of the season got underway with Jeff Simpson having established a healthy lead over his primary rivals, Alistair Lane, Graham White and Dave Longhurst. Mike Jordan was desperate to make up some of the lost ground after he failed to finish that 1st race at Mallory, but it was not good news for Andy Stewart. The pilot of the 19 truck had been struck by the mechanicals and couldn't even make the start of the 2nd race here. Simpson already 10th behind Alistair Lane at the end of lap 1, but then things got very eventful for Dave Briggs on lap 5 on the approach to Paddock. Soon Simpson was challenging Dave Longhurst for second spot, and Graham White had made great progress. 3 laps later, Simpson was leading, and White in 13 attempted to steal second from Longhurst in the 30 truck. The inside line paid dividends for Graham as Dave ran wide, which up at Druids nearly landed third to Alistair Lane. Mike Jordan also making good progress. Into the final corner, and Alistair Lane was determined to snatch the victory from Simpson's grasp. It was a move that almost cost him second place to Graham White, with Jordan lurking close at hand. Yet again, Simpson proved himself the class of the field, making 4 straight victories for the happy trucker Simpson. So Jeff Simpson now with a healthy advantage in points over Alistair Lane second in the standings. Graham White now up to third, with Dave Longhurst in 4th place. After a trip to Knockhill in Scotland for round 3, Mike Jordan is happy with his position. Alistair Lane also happy because he took a win, making him the first this year to beat the current leader, Jeff Simpson. Round 4 was in South Wales at Pembrey, not the happiest of hunting grounds for Jeff. The slippery conditions not helping matters. Youngster Lee Caroline was starting to find some speed in the 38 truck, while a little further back, Donut Stewart was keen to go one better than the 3 second places he'd already secured to this point in the year. Into Hatchett's hairpin he was given some help when the leaders tangled. As a consequence of all those antics, Tony Proctor now led, with a rumbling train behind him. Graham White in the guards van. Lee Caroline retired, and shortly after, Tony Proctor went on an expedition to uncharted territory. They all missed him, and Donut slotted through to lead as the rain started to fall. Looking back, Ali Lane had a grandstand view of Tony Proctor's drama and just held on to his own magnificent moment too. Donut continued to force the pace from the front, but behind, Ali Lane was about to make a demon move up the inside of Mike Jordan. It cost Mike 4 places, but he rejoined to score valuable points. Despite the conditions and with great skill, Donut held on to become the series' 3rd winner of the year. Although it had to be said that at times during the race he overstepped the limit and found himself on the non-adhesive green stuff, fooling Alan Fisher in the process on this occasion. Race 2 was a little more predictable, although equally as bruising, as Ali Lane, Mike Jordan and Dave Briggs in White 2 discovered. Up ahead, Graham White made progress to be 5th. That was until his truck refused to turn right when he asked it to. At the front, the pace was relentless. Mike Jordan now charging hard in the 77 truck and 9th. Sadly, John Engledow retired, and after a superb drive in which she kept the championship leaders behind her for almost half the race, Gillian Philp finally succumbed to Jeff Simpson's move at Hatchett's hairpin. Mike Jordan was now bidding for 3rd and pulled the manoeuvre at Hatchett's. Shortly afterwards, he would be followed through by Alistair Lane and Andy Donut Stewart. Jeff Simpson would take yet another victory, with Mike Jordan coming home 3rd behind Alistair Lane, who was now 2nd behind Jeff in the championship. It was quite an awesome start to the year for Simpson. His 3 truck performed brilliantly, he drove it stealthily, and the others wondered what they had to do to catch him. With 4 rounds complete, 4 drivers had passed the 1,000 point mark, and the teams headed to Croft. It was the first visit for the trucks to the northeast venue, and it produced fireworks. Before the racing got underway, we took the opportunity to catch up with 2 of the main contenders. First off, Andy Donut Stewart.
We've had one breakdown at Brands Hatch, what cost us a lot of points, but apart from there we've been in the top 3, so we just go out there and do our best.
I had the prop shop come to join me inside the car at Mallory Park, which gave us a bit of a shock, but it went fairly well on testing. Got a new engine in the car from the same guy that's doing Jeff Simpson's engine, and that seemed to make a big difference. We were quickest in testing yesterday, so fingers crossed for the race.
And we're on board here with Andy Stewart, 3rd in the championship currently. He's got Alistair Lane and Jeff Simpson ahead of him in the championship, but on the road ahead of him is Dave Longhurst as they make their way towards us for the first time. On the left-hand side of your screen, Michael Smith, the local man on his local circuit. To the behind him now is Steve Dudman. Going through in 3rd place, David Tennant. Side by side there, a battle with on the inside John Engledow, and on the outside Dave Briggs. Just look at the wall of metal facing Andy Stewart there as they come around towards the chicane for the first time, and Andy Stewart there in that 19 truck has the championship leader right behind him in the number 3 truck. That's Jeff Simpson. Well, we were promised a cracking battle here at Croft, and that's already what it's shaping up to be. There's been lots of talk about who will do what to whom, and how this is all going to shape out we'll find out over the ensuing 20 laps that this race will take the place of. There is Jeff Simpson in the 3 truck. Out of Tower Bend they come. All made it through the first corner, and in fact completed the first lap without any dramas at all. Dave Longhurst there coming through to cross the line down in 7th place on this opening tour. Flashing through they go. Michael Smith made a cracking start there in the 93 truck, but David Tin just had a little bit of look down the inside, and further back Andy Stewart is passed to the inside by, Alan Fisher got to the inside of Andy Stewart, nearly lost it there as they came down to Clervaux, the first right-hander here at Croft. Just 5 miles from Darlington we are up here in the northeast. It's a cracking venue, and we're on the shorter circuit here at Croft, but that seems to suit Graham White. He's in the yellow truck there, number 13, just moving up ahead and picking up a spot as he goes. Through Tower they come again. Cracking manoeuvre there. Oh, and the leader is off. Oh, he's out to grass. Oh, and so too Andy Stewart thrown by that. Well, the race leader, Michael Smith, zooming off into the grass, and Mike Jordan is caught there in an incident with Tony Proctor. Well, it's all happening on this lap. Unbelievable stuff. First of all, Michael Smith goes off into the grass, so that's him out of the lead. That will promote David Tin up to be our leader in the 5 truck. Behind him, Dave Briggs and Jeff Simpson. Also caught up in that is Steve Dudman. That's him in the 8 truck, languishing there. And we may well see the black and yellow quartered flags here, which will be a pace lap situation. But, well, at the moment, I have to say that Steve Dudman's truck is well off the racing line, but right on the racing pace is Jeff Simpson. He moves up to go 2nd alongside Dave Briggs in the InTouch Cellular truck. Well, 3 passes 2, and that is Jeff Simpson there, right in the middle of those 3. He is really desperately keen to take 200 points that go with a race victory here, and he's set about his task with absolute skill and drama. But what about this? Andy Stewart back at the moment in 9th position. That's a lowly place there for Andy Stewart. Remember, he is one of only 3 drivers that have won races in the pickup truck series so far. There have been 10 races, and here goes Simpson for the lead, and Simpson will slot through. Masterful performance by Jeff Simpson at the completion of lap 4. Simpson slots through to take that top spot, and demotes David Tin down to 2nd, and likewise going through to Dave Longhurst, the very likeable guy from Worthing. Well, the crowd watching on here and enjoying every second of this. Up ahead of Andy Stewart, there's a cracking scrap going on. Graham White goes to the inside, he'll move up, so too will Andy Stewart. That's poor old John Engledow, who's squeezed out in the back truck. He'll be pushed back down the order to be 8th now. Flashing through they go, reaching speeds of 135 miles an hour as they cross the start line here. And Alan Fisher there in the 52 truck. All of these trucks running Vauxhall 2-litre 16-valve double overhead cam units. Very powerful, very highly tuned, and a huge amount of preparation goes into getting them to sing their favourite song, and that is to take the driver on the way to a victory. This is a cracking scrap going on here. Graham White and Andy Stewart, they're great pals in the paddock. A lot of time for each other to help each other out if they've got problems, but I'll tell you, once that flag is waved and the lights go green, they will fight it out for every inch of the way. Oh, and there's drama now. Into the pit lane comes the second in the championship, man. That's Alistair Lane. Well, Ali Lane then into the pit lane, the bonnet being taken off, and there is Ali. And clearly a problem of dramatic proportions sidelining him. Well, they might be able to get that fixed and get him out. If he can get through and finish in 15th place or below, he'll still pick up 20 points, and that could prove to be very, very valuable to him at the end of the season as Andy Stewart moves up alongside Dave Briggs. Briggs is going to lose that place, and Stewart will move up to 6th. So Andy Stewart with the onboard camera in that 19 truck, he moves up into 6th place. Everybody else flashing through. So good solid manoeuvre by Andy Stewart. He was held up though a little bit behind Graham White and also behind Dave Briggs, but managed to get his way through now. And there is Bruce Evans, the Welshman, in the 33 truck, making his debut this year in the truck series. But there's the race leader, Jeff Simpson in the 3 truck. Dave Longhurst there in 2nd. It's David Tin in 3rd place, and a great scrap going on for 4th at the moment. Led as it is, here's the battle for 4th. Graham White leading Alan Fisher, who is under huge pressure from Andy Stewart, and Stewart, I'm sure, will look to try and make a manoeuvre. Now, will he go to the inside or the outside? The great thing about the truck racing is that you'll see these drivers, they don't care, you know, they'll go to the inside or the outside, wherever there is a gap. Well, there's no gap at all this time for Andy Stewart. He's locked in there. In fact, great driver's eye view there. Oh, and Fisher runs a little bit wide. I don't think there's a gap there that Stewart can get through there this time. They come to the chicane, clipping curbings left and right, and did Stewart get the better drive out of there? He might just have done, you know, as they come up to Tower, which is where the leader is at the moment. There's the 2nd place man, Dave Longhurst, and here comes this battle for 5th. In fact, while these two are fighting it out, behind, Mike Jordan in that 77 truck there is making terrific progress. Remember, he had the spin on the final turn, which is where they are now. Got into contact with Tony Proctor. That spun it right the way down to 12th place, would you believe? He's now clawed his way back up through the field and making terrific progress, but not perhaps as good at the moment as Jeff Simpson. There again is Jordan, right behind Dave Briggs. Oh, and Alistair Lane, who had rejoined from the pit lane, is going to retire just ahead of the leader. So that's desperate misfortune for Alistair Lane. He's already had 1 race win this year. That was at Knockhill up in Scotland just back in May. But sadly, he's not going to see the checkered flag on this occasion. Well, hopefully they'll be able to get that car sorted out for the 2nd race, and we'll have that for you later on. But here comes Andy Stewart, and this time Alan Fisher runs wide, and that's just the opportunity that Andy Stewart was looking for. So Stewart slots through. He'll move himself up now, the order to go into 5th spot. And that will demote Fisher down to 6th, of course. But here's the man on the move at the moment, very much Mike Jordan. He has got that car really working well. Mentioned before that he was the quickest in practice, and certainly that form has not deserted him. Well, a new 3rd place man might be just Graham White. Yeah, White to the inside of Tin. So Graham White, Chalky, he's known as in the paddock, moves up. David Tin back to 4th, but this is cracking stuff from Mike Jordan. The man in his sights now is Alan Fisher. Alan, who did a couple of outings in V6s earlier on, but he's lost the place now. Jordan very late on the brakes. He goes through. Classic manoeuvre at Clairvaux. Oh, he nearly ran a little bit wide there, didn't he? Just running out of track, but holds on to that position. This scrap between Mike Jordan and Andy Stewart has been a thrilling one over the last lap, and Mike Jordan, just as you rejoin us, takes the position. Well, superb stuff by Mike Jordan. He outbraked Andy Stewart into the first corner, Clairvaux here at Croft. And sensational stuff, Jordan then through. That'll put him up into 4th place. Still our leader is Jeff Simpson. I was about to say, in 2nd place is Dave Longhurst, as Longhurst pulls into the pit lane, so that's a desperate retirement for the worthy man. Well, he was on his way to 175 points and a famous 2nd place at the very least. But that 2nd place now is inherited by Graham Chalky White. So Chalky from Dorking in the 13 truck moves up. That also moves up, of course, David Tin there in the 5 truck. He's now 3rd. Mike Jordan in 77 is 4th. And there is Andy Stewart going through in the 19 truck at the back of this 3-way truck battle. He's back down there in 5th position, but there's our race leader, Jeff Simpson, really stretching his lead now. Mentioned before that he's had 7 wins, would you believe, already from 10 starts, and Mike Jordan moves up into 3rd place. So Jordan in the John Guest truck, up he is into 3rd place. David Tin demoted yet another place, and Andy Stewart now snaffling away at the rear end of that truck. He wants that position off David Tin. Look how close they are. Andy Stewart won't even be able to see the tailgate on that truck ahead of him. He's running so close there. Think of the speeds that they're tearing around this cross circuit at. Certainly, well, there is a great example of how close they're running, and you can slipstream in these trucks if you get right up behind the man in front of you. It provides a great shoot forward, and that's exactly what Andy Stewart's going to do at the first corner. He's late on the brakes, turns in, and well, he nearly runs wide, just clips the curbing on the exit, but that puts Andy Stewart up into 4th place. Clips the curbing, almost takes to the air there. Certainly that front inside tyre there lifting up. But no problems thus far for Jeff Simpson. That truck looks to be in good position. He's in amongst the slower runners now. And Simpson tears off another lap and starts his final navigation. Getting to the inside of Tony Proctor there, who after that first corner incident, or rather last corner incident, I should say, dropping back through the pack. Here is Andy Stewart, David Tin there, back now. Alan Fisher has decided to join the fray, and the checkered flag being readied. Well, Simpson on his way to his 8th victory of the season. That is a stunning performance. Oh, and Bruce Evans spins as if in celebration. Not what he had in mind, I don't think. Well, here is the checkered flag, and here to take it is Jeff Simpson. Another victory for Simpson then. 2nd place will go to Graham Chalky White, and coming home in 3rd, Mike Jordan with a supreme drive. Well, what about that from Jeff Simpson?
I don't know what lap I got in the lead, but it seemed very early, and I just seemed to cruise around. It was lovely, brilliant, lovely race.
I've knocked the bottom end out of the little truck doing that, because we've been over every bit of curb and every bit of grass, so there's all sorts of noises coming from underneath, so we best have a quick look and see if it's all going to be okay for the 2nd race.
Well, while Mike Jordan has a quick look for the 2nd race, the crowd are getting ready to take their places for what should be a cracker. And in fact, when that cracker got underway, there was an incident at the first corner which pulled out the red flags. Mike Jordan there in the 77 truck made a good start, but look behind. Alan Fisher sent into a spin, contacted the tyre wall and the Armco, and brought his truck to a position which the stewards felt had to be removed. Well, Bruce Evans didn't mind. He was one man going out to mow, and he would take the restart. So Bruce Evans back at the front there on the outside. To the inside of him, Alan Seeger on the 2nd row. It's Tony Proctor on the inside, Dave Briggs on the outside as they come towards us, and there is Mike Jordan in that 77 truck. You can just see him there back on the 4th row. They all make their way through. Oh, there's contact there, I'm sure, by Bruce Evans and Tony Proctor as they went through the first corner. A little bit of telltale smoke pouring off Bruce Evans' truck. I'm sure I spotted that. Oh, and David Tin has to give way as they come through the chicane, and that will run Mike Jordan wide. Oh, Jordan, 2 wheels on the grass, and look who's gone up the outside. Jeff Simpson, our race winner and current championship leader, seized the opportunity with both hands, said thanks very much. The welcome mat was down, he wiped his feet and walked on by. Well, great opportunism by Jeff Simpson, up ahead of arch rival Mike Jordan. Mike Jordan, of course, currently leading the V8 Championship for Eurocars, but here's the man of the moment in the trucks, going up ahead of Chalky White. So Simpson moves up, and there's the smoke coming off Bruce Evans' truck that I talked about earlier on. Now, that might well have been as an incident when we had the red flag, but you can see it clearly there, pouring off as they all make their way through Clervaux, and Simpson is run out wide. Ooh, nearly took those tyres out there. Frantic stuff up front, everybody trying to keep Simpson behind them. It's going to be a desperate battle for them, you have to believe that. Bruce Evans there in 3rd place currently, but Simpson's the man behind him in 4th. And already, well, Jeff Simpson just is like the proverbial bullet from the gun, isn't he? As soon as those lights go, he's off like a shot, and he'll come through this time behind Tony Proctor, but Mike Jordan only about 3 trucks behind him, so Jordan will want to keep in touch. Bad news, I'm afraid, for our onboard cameraman, Andy Stewart. Should mention him, he has been sidelined with an engine problem. So Andy Stewart, who had such a good run in the first race, not taking the restart for this race. But Alistair Lane, by contrast, did. They managed to solve that problem. Although I have to say, that car sounds very flat, and that's the black and orange flag. Well, that's a flag which indicates that if it's your number held up next to it, you must visit the pit lane and talk to the clerk of the course. They fear that your car might be falling apart and you might not be aware of it, and that's the problem for for Bruce Evans. That's that smoke coming off him. They'll want to check that out and make sure that it's not going to be a problem for other competitors out on the circuit. Here's Mike Jordan getting past Alan Seeger. Good grip and scrap going on here, led by Tony Proctor. There's Chalky White, second place in the earlier race. Oh, and Alan Sager spins it out. Poor old Alan Sager. Oh, my word. Well, he was running so well. Bruce Evans, as you can see, has ignored the black and orange flag, so he's now being black flagged. That's the end of his race. I'll bet you bottom dollar he claims not to have seen it, though. Many of the drivers do. Sometimes they're with good reason, but oftentimes not. John Engel now in the 50 truck. Behind him, Dave Longhurst. Longhurst, as you'll have noticed, managing to have put himself right, but look what's happened. While we were looking at that black flag, Mike Jordan's got through ahead of Jeff Simpson. So Jordan then on lap 6 goes ahead, and that will put Jeff Simpson back in second place. Well, these two surrounded. Mike Jordan runs wide. Oh, Jordan is off. He's just completely gone straight on. He's removed half the front of that truck, I think. Oh, my word. Well, have you ever seen anything like it? The whole of that front end has disappeared. Has he damaged his suspension? That would be the worry. Oh, here's Bruce Evans. Now, what's he got to say for himself? What have I done, Governor? Oh, dear. Well, that's him out of the race anyway, but Jeff Simpson can count his lucky stars. Oh, Jordan's retired. Well, I suspect it's a cooling problem, that. Oh, it's all happening in this. Well, my word, what, I wonder then, is the problem for Mike Jordan?
He's popped a rear brake caliper seal. I was quite comfortable in the lead, just holding station from Jeff. And the lap before, just the pedal had just gone a little bit long. Got on the brakes at the end of the straight there, and it just went straight to the floor. So it was either spin it into the gravel or kick my foot in and try and get through it. And I didn't realise quite so much had fallen off it. I have to say, I thought probably the front spoiler had gone. I didn't realise the whole front end was off it. But I wound all the brake bias right to the front just to see if I could give chase to Jeff just on the front brakes. But I've lost them completely now that there are no brakes on it, so I thought I'd better retire with that.
Well, there you go, the story from the horse's mouth. Mike Jordan, well, you have to say in good humour, really. Well, in great humour at the moment is the leader, Jeff Simpson. There he is, and Jeff Simpson will come to take the checkered flag and the victory, and a double celebration for Jeff Simpson. 2 wins, maximum points, 400 points to his credit, and that is going to cement his position at the top of the championship.
Slowly caught Mike, and I think he locked up going into this corner down here, and went off. It was just plain sailing. I was very pleased he went off, really. Sorry to say it, Mike.
Well, I'm sure Mike won't mind that too much, but there's the confirmation. Jeff Simpson takes the 400 points. Great performance by Graham White, coming home in second with 330. As far as the championship's concerned, well, that performance by Graham White moves him up to second, but it's Jeff Simpson, the consummate leader.
unreal. We went across the grass together.
Jeff drove a very, very strong defensive race there, and I couldn't find a chink in his armour, really.
All of which meant that Jeff Simpson's advantage was now 575 points, but look how close it is behind. The teams headed to Donington Park for round 8. Well, we've seen plenty of action from outside the trucks. Now here's a chance to do a lap of Donington in anger. Kevin Clark was your guide. Enjoy. Pretty easy, isn't it? Well, you might think so, but take a look at the same lap from championship leader Jeff Simpson's viewpoint. A severe dent then to Simpson's hopes of wrapping up the championship early, so there was all to play for in the second race. Jeff's failure to finish in race 1 meant he started with a clear track ahead, while further back, Kevin Clark was about to have another scintillating and very busy first lap. So Kevin Clark well on his way to a strong finish, and into the closing stages, back on board with Jeff Simpson, and Mike Jordan, winner of the first race here incidentally, stormed to the inside at the S's looking for his second victory of the day. Jeff though had other ideas and set about retaking the lead. But it wasn't to be, and Mike Jordan would go on to be the second driver in the series, Simpson being the other, to score a double victory at the same meeting on the same day. Further back there were still antics to be played out between Dave Longhurst and Lee Caroline, but that double victory lifted Mike Jordan to third overall in the standings, but Jeff Simpson's lead was unassailable. And the season closer at Mallory Park showed just how magnificently entertaining a series this is. The final round of what has been a quite incredible second season for the brilliant pickup trucks couldn't take place at a more appropriate venue. We're on the Mile Oval at Mallory Park, and it's no surprise to see a huge crowd of race fans revved up and raring to be entertained. The penultimate race of the year served up more than its fair share of incidents and drama. Jeff Simpson arrived with a healthy advantage over Andy Donut Stewart and Mike Jordan. Graham White in fourth in the championship, with Dave Longhurst in the 30 truck lying fifth. As the blistering field hurtled underneath the bridge on the opening lap, Longhurst tucked in behind Dave Briggs, with Graham White in yellow 13 on his bumper. Out of Gerrard's, and Dave looks to make his move towards the front. The outcome surprised even him. It was amazing that so many of the pack made it past the mayhem. But perhaps not so surprising that the red flags came out to stop the race. One of those to suffer was Mike Jordan, with what would prove to be relatively superficial damage to his front left quarter. Mike, what happened?
I don't really know. I mean, Tony Proctor definitely ran off coming out of Gerrard's and then came back on halfway down, trying to be very tidy. He was just trying to give everybody some room. But that ended up with four of us, four abreast going into the S's, and then there was a couple got a bit sideways ahead of me. I'd got everything locked up because I'd got one in the left-hand rear quarter, and it just all hell let loose then. I thought I'd got away with most of it. I mean, I'd hit somebody in the front, and then somebody hit me in the left rear quarter again as I tried to get through, but very unfortunate way to start the race, isn't it?
And there were more unfortunates back in the paddock, including Dave Briggs. Dave, all looks pretty serious here. What's gone on?
Superficial. Going down the back straight, sort of just got a bit wide on the grass, sort of came back on again, and then just got hit from behind. I don't know who hit it, but then it sort of put me into a spin, and then about three other cars sort of hit me, ended up in the tyre wall. It's, as you can see, just a bit of a mess, but we should be able to get it out again. But it seems to be this meeting, the exact same meeting last year, same place. That's obviously a bit of a bogey meeting. Not sure we'll do this one next year.
And perhaps Dave Longhurst considered it a bogey meeting too.
Dave.
Oh, what's going on, Dave?
It's that blasted camera. I had to keep telling me, you don't want that as a jinx, and I think they might be right.
Really? What happened?
Well, I was quite minding my own business, and we were sort of gone into the second turn, got away with the first turn, and all of a sudden we gained about 30 mile an hour. So I think Graham hit us at the back, but somebody hit Graham, and it come from about 4 cars further back, I think. And that was it then. It was arms everywhere, and try and keep it on the black stuff.
What's the damage?
Basically everything on the front suspension, on that front left-hand side, bodywork, radiator. But the crew's working flat out, and everybody else's crew, by the look of it. So
Well, you look remarkably cheery under the circumstances.
it's no good crying, is it? It happens, doesn't it? It ain't going to make it feel any better, is it? Just get on and fix it.
Carol, what are you doing down there? You're normally doing the catering.
We swap hats on this team. Look, nuts and bolts, put it all back together. Multi-talented team.
Did you see what happened?
He just seemed to be picked up and go a bit faster, but, you know, one of those things, I think.
Are you going to get it out?
Oh, yeah, of course. Bit damaged. Might not look quite as neat as usual, but she'll be there.
And while Dave's crew and Carol worked feverishly, Lee Caroline was trying to get a closer look at what happened. We thought while you were looking at the film, we'd come and look at you. What have you seen?
Well, it looks like, I think it's number 2 or Jordan hits me from behind, and I'll go into, it looks like Dave Longhurst, but I can't be too sure.
How's your truck?
Yeah, a bit damaged, but we'll be back out there. Waiting for the rain. We like the rain.
Well, he didn't have to wait long. Frantic activity in the garage area produced dividends as a full field of trucks got ready for the restart. As the pace car pulled off and the trucks made their way to the green lights, the view from Dave Longhurst's seat showed what they were up against. Into Gerrard's, and Andy Donut Stewart found grip around the outside as Longhurst dived to the inside with Dave Briggs yet again in front of him. Jeff Simpson found there was more grip out wide too. Dave Longhurst moved to his left, passing Alan Seeger onto the backstretch, the scene of the earlier incident. This time though, they all made it safely through, and while Gillian Philp led, Lee Caroline in the 38 truck was breathing down her neck. Into Gerrard's a lap later. Caroline made the move while behind David Tin and Tony Proctor scrapped for 6th place. Caroline was through and Ali Lane was looking to make the move on the lady from Scotland as they came out of Gerrard's. Lane did indeed put the move on and moved into 2nd place, all of which contributed to Gillian Philp being demoted to 3rd. But it was a position she'd hold on to when the flag dropped. The man with reason to celebrate, though, Lee Caroline, with his first victory.
Yeah, I've been there or thereabouts all season, but we've had a few teething problems, but last few meetings we really got it together.
How were the conditions out there?
We was on the edge all the way through it, all the way. I was getting pushed hard from Alistair, but I managed to keep out there in front.
I'll tell you something, Paul, that's just made up for the last 6 meetings. I mean, I love the wet anyway, and Lee was really on a mission. It was a great race. We were both different in different parts of the circuits. He was quicker than me out of turn 2, I was quicker than him out of turn 4, so it was making the race really interesting. But there was a couple of times I got some serious tank slappers on. I was completely sideways coming on the straight. I thought, no, you've done it this time. I couldn't actually get the lock through fast enough to get it back the other way. And I saw Gillian there and I thought, oh no, but I hung on and then managed to get a run at him again, and I just figured my game plan out. If I could hang in there tight enough, that last lap, just have a run for him, because I was definitely quicker out of that turn 2, so turn 4. So I thought, give it a go, and we got alongside, and it could have only been half a bonnet, I think. So great fun. It's made up for all the grief we've had for the last second half of the championship. I was starting to get a real complex, especially talking to you guys as well.
Gillian, it's not the first time we've seen you on the podium. That was a quite awesome performance.
Really enjoyed it. Really, really hard work, but the wet weather caught me out, but brilliant. Really enjoyed it. Excellent drive.
Was there anything you could do to have got closer to Alistair?
No, they were starting to open up a gap, and I was on my own for quite some time, but I was quite happy to settle for 3rd in the conditions that it was. And Alistair about lost it up the back straight. I thought I'd maybe get to 2nd, but fortunately did really well to hold on to it, and well, I got 3rd, so I'm really chuffed at that.
The conditions here for this final race of the season absolutely treacherous underfoot, or should that be under wet tyre. The trucks all out there on their wet tyres. They have a treaded tyre, and there is Mike Jordan having rebuilt his charge. And oh, a big sideways slide there from Jordan as the lights turn green. He put the power on. Everybody safely away, but this is the cavalry charge down into Gerrard's for the first time of asking. Graham White there, tucked in behind the series leader and sure to be crowned today champion Jeff Simpson. Mike Jordan in 77 ahead of him, but side by side, oh, a big sideways moment for Bruce Evans. Hold it tight, Bruce. Well, my word, oh, he nearly held it, but he's got away from him. Thankfully, on this occasion, he hasn't swung out across the track, but Alan Seeger leads the race. I think that might be the first time this year. David Tim behind him, but look at the two fighting out for third place. On the outside, Jeff Simpson. There is Dave Longhurst, for me, the star of the day so far. And he's with Dave Briggs again. Well, we saw what mayhem that caused last time. Hopefully they'll keep it all together this time, but there's real antics going on. There is Dana just deciding, I think, to hold the field, but Simpson going for the lead. Simpson's going to take the lead, is he? And Mike Jordan pushing David Tin round the outside. It goes Gillian Philp. Absolute brilliant stuff for this season closer here at Mallory Park. Oh, terrific scrap going on. Lee Caroline in 38. Ahead of him is Alistair Lane in 28. We saw those two have such a great run earlier on. Oh, a big sideways slippy moment there for Alistair Lane, but he held it all back together. And Alistair Lane, one of the two. The other one there is certainly Lee Caroline, who relish these conditions. They love to get these trucks sideways and get all that 230 brake horsepower at their disposal down onto the track. Well, absolute fun and games going on behind. Andy Donut Stewart is another who really has been a brilliant addition to this series. What entertainment he's brought during the year, and he's tucked in now behind Jeff Simpson. Simpson there out front. Second place is Stewart, and there's Lee Caroline trying to go around the outside of Mike Jordan, coming out of turn 3, and he might just make that work as well. He's side by side now with Gillian Philp. This the battle for the lead. 3, 6, 8 trucks up there fighting it out. Graham White is the one at the back there, but trying again to go round the outside of Gillian Philp is Lee Caroline. Well, my word, what brilliant scrapping this is. And the grip is definitely on the outside. They're going to be 3 arrested to Gerrard this time. Underneath the bridge they go. To the inside there, the one red and white truck are going to be so excited here in this final round. Terrific stuff. Simpson leads. Donut Stewart there in second place, and Lee Caroline again trying to go around the outside. He's going to make it work from third to first in one quick and easy manoeuvre. Brilliant driving from the 19-year-old. Absolutely classic wet weather manoeuvre at Mallory. That's where all the grip is, because the track gets polished on the inside with all the cars running over it in the dry. So the tarmac is much grippier on the outside, and that's why not only Lee Caroline, but now also having passed Mike Jordan there in 77, Alistair Lane looking to go second around Jeff Simpson. And will Ali Lane make it work? Well, they're still side by side there for that second place. Andy Donut Stewart looks on and thinks, aye, there might be something in this for me if I just hang on here. And he could well be right as Simpson gets it sideways. That will surely let Ali Lane through. Simpson backs off the power, and Donut Stewart goes third. It's all change again in this quite brilliant race down the backstretch. And Lee Caroline leading Alistair Lane. We heard them say what a great scrap they'd had in the first one. It looks as though they're going to have it here again. Look how wide out Caroline is. Andy Stewart goes from the inside to the out, and further back in the pack they're scrapping it to. That's John Engledow with Christian Dick in the 91 truck. Christian having a a bit of a nip there because Ali Lane has gone through. Alistair Lane takes the lead into Gerrard's this time. Look at Caroline though, searching for the grip out wide. I've got to say as well, Gillian Philp is having a masterly run. She's back in 5th at the moment, but she's really hanging on in there. It's a great level of the wet, we know that. Jeff Simpson in that white truck just puts his nose down the inside of Gillian's truck, can't get through, and there is Gillian round the outside this time of Andy Donut Stewart, and Andy Stewart will surely realise that he needs to get out wide. There's Dave Longhurst. They put that truck together so well after the incident, and further back in the pack they're scrapping it out for what, 9th, 10th place there. John Engledow in the black truck, but here we are back with the leaders. Jeff Simpson, who led, remember, early on, back in 5th at the moment. Up ahead of him, Gillian Philp 4th, Andy Donut Stewart in 3rd place, and we've got a new leader because Ali Lane's been demoted back to 2nd yet again. Lee Caroline there goes around the outside, finds the grip. They're all going to stay out wide in a moment. Gillian Philp tempts herself down the inside of Stewart, but won't make it work at this time. Dave Longhurst trying to go around the outside of Jeff Simpson. My word, this really could go to any one of these 6 or 7 drivers swapping places like fury out there. And still no change as they come into turn 1 yet again and again. 45 degrees almost for Jeff Simpson in the 3 truck. Let's just recap the order. There's Caroline leading, Lane, Stewart, there is the 4th and 5th place, and Dave Longhurst come through to be 5th now. Behind, hang on there, Ali Lane. Alistair Lane Well, that's dropped him back to fourth. Side by side with Dave Longest. He might lose that place as well and be fine himself. Just running at the back of the top 6. Gillian Phillips having a good look as well to see what might be in it for her. Well, let's just leave them to sort themselves out as they pass the back marker. Bruce Evans, who had the spin on the opening lap, has rejoined. But this train of cars, absolutely, or trucks I should say, absolutely flying here. And how on earth they are managing to stay on the black bit, goodness only knows. Well, we found certainly a new wet weather baby here in Lee Caroline. He really is leading this train down the backstretch in great style. He's opened up a slight gap now, but Jeff Simpson's going to look down the inside of Andy Stewart to try and take second place. And Ali Lane, meantime, thinks, aye, I might just get myself third here. Just tremendous stuff. Well, the pickup motto is one of if you ain't rubbing, you ain't racing. Here they are back at the field, and it's the two brothers side by side. Gavin Seeger on the outside with Alan on the inside. And here are the leaders again. Well, I'll tell you what, if you've got 10pence somewhere and you want to put it on a winner, you've got any one of 6 here who could take this no problem at all. Amongst them in that 30 truck, Dave Longhurst, tucked in as he is now behind Jeff Simpson. Simpson, who's been the winningest driver this year, started the season with 5 straight victories, took the opening 2 races here at Mallory Park. It was in very different conditions to these, but he really did stamp his early authority on the championship on that occasion. And what a brilliant way it would be for Jeff Simpson to seal his championship if he could take a victory. At the moment, though, he's got plenty of them out there to try and arrest that away from him. Still, they're fighting it out for those places. There is David Tin behind the 24 truck there in 5, and we've got another challenge for the lead going on. Well, perhaps not. Lee Carroll, oh, Dave Longhurst nearly lost it there. Well held, Dave. Fighting it out for Jeff Simpson for that 3rd spot, and it's cost him because Donut Stewart muscles his way through. So Longhurst goes from 3rd to 5th. And meanwhile, Ali Lane trundles round in 2nd place, trying desperately to get on the back bumper again of Lee Carroll. And here's a big lunge, though, further back from Dave Briggs to the inside of Christian Dick. Oh, and he's going to hit the wall very hard. Well, absolutely clattered into the tyre wall. Christian Dick, the car there, the truck spins around. Well, Dave Briggs is OK, that's the good news. Off comes the door. It's supposed to do that, by the way. You can see the tubing inside there that's helped keep him safe and sound. He gets out of the truck, walks away, helmet off. Well, it's been a real bogey meeting for him, as he said earlier on. And I suspect he won't be here next October. Well, meantime, the leader, as the rain has died away, actually, in the last couple of laps. Still, though, Ali Lane trying to make an impression. The tyre wall has had an impression made in it of a substantial nature as we come to the closing laps of this contest. Look at the marks put down there. The marshal's going to try and get out there onto the track, I think, and try and recover the situation. The yellow flags fly to warn the competitors that marshals are on the track, but we've still got our leaders making their way back with the closing stages. And you can see how much damage there is to the front of that truck. The marshals will do a great job, though, and get it shifted. Well, credit to the leaders. They've slowed. There is Lee Caroline, Ali Lane, Jeff Simpson 3rd, Andy Stewart in 4th, Dave Longhurst, and there is Gillian Philp, the lady from Scotland, back in 6th place. Conditions, actually, as we're saying, have dried off a little bit over these last couple of laps. Well, the marshal's done a brilliant job there, shifting these cars out of the way, and we are into our very last mile or so of this race. Dave Longhurst absolutely chucking it round Gerrard's behind Jeff Simpson, but Jeff Simpson surely now must be on his way to an unassailable position in the championship. It's been a great year for him. Lee Caroline will take the race victory, but Jeff Simpson has been quite supreme this year. 2 race wins at Mallory Park, 2 race wins at Brands Hatch for rounds 1 and 2. Here comes Lee Caroline to the checkered flag, but Jeff Simpson it is who will be crowned the 1998 pickup truck racing champion. And that is a brilliant performance by young Lee Caroline, but all credit to Jeff Simpson. Dave Longhurst for me, though, the man of the moment. What a cheery character he is. But here, confirmation of Simpson's awe-inspiring championship year. And it was a year that saw him take 13 victories on his way to that championship. Andy Donut Stewart takes 2nd place with Mike Jordan in 3rd. Graham White, Dave Longhurst and Alistair Lane. What superb entertainment they all gave us during 1998.
We had a good start to the year. We had a bad Donington, we had a good Croft, we had a bad Mallory, went in really hard down the bottom in Gerrards here, had a big accident, but got it back together for Castle Combe again and obviously finished it off in Knockhill. So yeah, really pleased, Paul.
What's been the difference this year?
Dedication. We started off at the start with the trucks. It was a series then, and it was the most truck wins, and we actually we won 10 last year, and I think we've won 13 this year. Just not quite pipped Lee in that last one, but I've got to say Lee drove a fantastic race. I think he's a lad to watch for next year. He come around the outside of me, left me at least 10 foot, and he was literally on the edge of the track on the white line. I couldn't believe it when he come round me, and literally just pulled away. Brilliant drive from him.